Look to overthrow the Galaxy. In his first full season on the throne, London's Lionel Taylor reigns supreme. His princes are quarterback Stan White, allocated by the Giants, and World League record holder Tony Vincent. The last 2 seasons, Ernie Stautner's Galaxy have been to the World Bowl. To get back, quarterback Chad May and receiver Mario Bailey must shine like supernovas. Good morning and welcome to World League Weekend, day number 2, our Sunday morning edition. Eric Clemens here at our FX studios in New York. Get your breakfast. Join us for some football morning style this Sunday. The London Monarchs at home against the Frankfurt Galaxy. These two meeting in a home opener for the 3rd time in World League history. Now, coming up a little bit later today on the Doctor's Halftime Report, I'll have a special guest in the studio, Dave Brown of the New York Football Giants. Their quarterback will talk a little bit about the Giants' fortunes and his teammates, Scott Player, the punter for Frankfurt, and quarterback Stan White, who's in action for the London Monarchs. And speaking of that, it's almost time to get to some football. So our colleagues standing by in London for the call, Doug Bell and Ron Pitts. Take it away, gentlemen.
Welcome to Stamford Bridge in Chelsea. It's ideal football weather for the start of the World League today. The home-standing Monarchs taking on the Frankfurt Galaxy, the team to beat in this World League. They've been in the World Bowl the last 2 years. They won it in 1995. Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Bell alongside NFL Fox analyst Ron Pitts. Ernie Stautner is in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's done a marvelous job with his Frankfurt club. But this is the World League. It's forever changing. He's got a lot of changes.
Well, I tell you what, Ernie does it through defense. Watch the front four today. They should do a pretty good job. But his questions right now this year rely mainly on the offense. He's got a new quarterback in here right now, Chad May, allocated from Arizona. We know this about Chad. Very aggressive, great competitor, and he can throw the deep ball. I think we're going to see all that.
Lionel Taylor is the head coach of the London Monarchs. He was a great receiver with the Broncos back in the 60s. This is his first full season as head coach.
Yeah, he's got this team right now, and the team has his respect, and the London Monarchs needed that. He's got questions also on offense. Stan White has taken over. He's allocated quarterback from the New York Giants. Stan can do it all. He can throw all the right passes. Very smart. His only questions, he's got some injuries on offense and the wide receiving core around him, and the defense is going to have to step up and play better.
They had the London Marathon in this great city earlier this morning. We're hoping for a faster-paced affair today, and I think we're going to have it between these two squads. Kickoff coming up next from Stamford Bridge in Chelsea.
Today's game is brought to you by Dockers Khakis. Hey, nice pants.
It's week 1 of the World League. Today, London against Frankfurt, separated by about 396 miles. The Galaxy, the team to beat, they say, in the World League. They made it to the World Bowl the last 2 years with Stamford Bridge in Chelsea. The world-famous Chelsea soccer team plays in this facility. As you see the soccer lines on the field, it is ideal football conditions. Temperature about 61 degrees, just a light breeze, cooling things off even more. The sun is coming in and out of the clouds. And the fans that are here are looking forward to a lot of fireworks. Doug Bell alongside Ron Pitts. We've already enjoyed the fireworks. We're just above the fireworks.
I'll tell you about some fireworks. That is a fast track down there on the field. Coming in, a lot of the players were complaining that it was a little bit too low. A lot of changing of shoes, trying to get that right mix between traction but not slipping because the turf is so low.
It is a soccer field, so that means the grass is very low. It's a very hard field. As you see, Ralph Kleinman handles the kickoff duties for the Galaxy. He is a national player. And he'll be kicking off with London Monarchs, who won the toss. Deep for London. Mohammed and Todrick Malone. Mohammed fields it on the 10. Gets nailed around the 21-yard line. And that's where the London Monarchs will start, and their quarterback Stan White from the New York Giants will take over, and he's excited, Ron, about playing. It is his first start since he started at Auburn 3 or 4 years ago.
And the first thing you'll see from a guy like Stan is he's got a little bit of taste of that NFL, okay? And he's going to throw certain balls with precise accuracy, and he's going to make the right calls and the right checks most of the time. But he's over here to get reps and improve in everything.
His first pass over the mark. Brings up second down. Lionel Taylor, the head coach of the London Monarchs. He loves to see that ball in the air. Of course, he was an outstanding receiver for the Denver Broncos. Tony Vincent is the main man back for London. A year ago, he was the stud in the backfield. As you look at the backs and receivers, we talked about Vincent. Ed Hobbs, the fullback, now in the lineup for London, which gives them more options. Stallworth is the speedster on the outside. Todrick Malone, the young man from the University of Alabama, allocated by the Redskins.
Boy, and they just ran a guy in on the field real late. Looked like Frank Mesmer.
And keep in mind, this is the first real game for these guys.
Timeout, Frankfurt. That's the team's first team charge timeout.
A very smart call. They had a player run in, as we look at Ernie Stoutner right there, running on the field. At the last minute, they were going to get called for too many men on the field.
I said the first series is a national series.
He's been told you hear what he just said? In the first series is a national series, meaning you have to have one of those designated national players on the field. Apparently there was a mix-up in the communication. They tried to run him off the last minute.
Here are the national player rules. Each team must have 7 national players. And as Ron mentioned, the national player must be on the field every other series. And for Frankfurt, this is their series, and that caused the mix-up.
Well, and there's been some mix-up in this before. And it's funny, it happened with Ernie the last time. They were playing over in Dusseldorf last year. And, you know, they alternate downs or series. Like I said, every other series, there has to be a guy in there. And there's different schools of thought. There's Mesmer right there. He ran on. He's the national player that was trying to get on the field. And there's different schools of thought on how to attack it. Maybe you start it off early and try to get it over with. You see Ernie wanting to get it the first series, put the national in.
Here are the national players for the Galaxy. Volk or Schenk, kind of a Rocky Blyer type. Rafael Gretz, and there's the big guy, Frank Mesmer, who is also a professional boxer when he's not playing pro football.
Super heavyweight division.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
As you can tell.
He knocked out one guy in 6 seconds. That's fast.
Well, this is his 3rd year with the Galaxy. Now, last year, he was injured. And I'll tell you, he's one of those guys that's very close to going over the line and making an NFL team. Now, last year set him back a lot, but he's the kind of guy that's really gotten a lot out of this league and made some huge improvements.
So it's 2nd down. Stan White back to pass. It's completed over the middle for a gain of about 4 yards. Andre Bowden on the stop for Frankfurt. And there's Tony McKenzie, 64, the national player for London. And he's designated by his home country flag. Seth Dittman has been allocated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is a big offensive front for London.
And very aggressive, especially from McKenzie to Lamb and Wisdom. So triangle in there, so to speak. They like to get after people.
3rd and 5. 3rd straight play. White back to pass. And he's intercepted. Frankfurt picks it off. That's Greg Evans. And the Galaxy takes over at the 31-yard line.
Stan had a little pressure in his face, but it looked as though he just made a really bad read or expected someone to be where they weren't. I mean, he let it go like he knew exactly where he was going to throw the ball. You can see up the middle now, he's going to get some pressure, and they're going to pick it up. But then he tries to make the throw out to the outside and completes it to the wrong guy.
Chad May is the quarterback, allocated by the Arizona Cardinals, and the handoff right up the middle. Going nowhere is Bobby Phillips. Phillips allocated by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The pressure's going to come right up the middle, and they're going to do a pretty good job of picking it up. But keep an outside eye on the left part of your screen. That's where he wants to go. You see Tony Vincent, 35. He didn't quite make it far out enough. He looked as though he was expecting Vincent to work farther to the outside.
So it's 2nd down and about 6. And the pitch back again to Phillips. He's knocked out of bounds, although they keep the clock moving. Chad May, a young man who set all sorts of records at Kansas State, Bill Snyder's head coach, and when they both arrived there, the program really turned around. He's happy to be here in the sense that he's getting playing time, but we talked to him last night, and And he's unhappy because he has no sports center. He must have mentioned that 8 times to us.
Well, I think he needs to just get his mind on completing passes here and doing well in this league. And I really think deep down inside, he wants to do that.
3rd and 3, and again, Phillips the workhorse, wide open, and he gets tripped up down around the 4-yard line. That's Bobby Phillips, 5'9", about 200 pounds, in his 2nd year with Frankfurt. Played at Virginia Union, and the Steelers really like the guy. That was a huge hole.
Great job of a cutback run by Phillips. He's going to take everything to his right or to his left, and look at that hole right there. That's a good job of vision, and when you have a hole that size, now he's just got to do a good job of keeping on his feet and keep running. That's the difference between the good backs and the great ones. You're not going to tackle them by a shoestring.
Kevin Gaines saved the touchdown, the young man from Louisville, in the defensive secondary for London. And the pitch back to Phillips again, flag on the play.
They're going to get somebody for encroachment. I'm not sure if London got back in time. They're talking about the ball on the ground, but that flag was thrown before that ball hit the ground.
Offsides against the Monarchs.
Offsides, defense. Number 95. Half the distance to the goal, repeats. First down.
The penalty against Malcolm Scholl.
Right there, 94, Newbill. He was the guy that jumped a little bit early, tried to get back. They called Scholl, but you see right there, that's Newbill. He puts his foot over the line. And, you know, that's a huge penalty because that ball was indeed on the ground. A huge turnover that would have been for London.
Lionel Taylor, back in the 60s, he caught a lot of balls for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Chad May looking to punch it in. Bobby Phillips working his way to around the 2-yard line.
You know, one thing that's unique in this stadium here, Doug, the end zones are very short. You know, they're doing a lot of construction and so on, but in the back of the end zone, you don't have a lot of room. You can see right there. I mean, this right here, that's the crash wall. So your deeper routes, people like to work the back of the end zone. Your fade routes, and you try to catch in the corner, those are going to be hard to hit. I'm not saying you can't do them, but I got to believe somebody's going to pay a price for it physically if they catch the ball.
The Frankfurt Galaxy looking to punch it in, and they do. Touchdown, Frankfurt. Bobby Phillips is the man.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ernie Stouter told me he would do before the game. He wouldn't mess around trying to throw the ball because of the short end zone. They keep it on the ground, and they get the point. And it's all a result of the interception. Turnovers in your own territory will cost you.
Ralph Kleinman, in his 2nd year with Frankfurt, will come on. He handles all the kicking duties. Now, many of these World League teams, the national kicker only kicks inside the 30 and the extra points, but Ralph does it all. And he does kick off a tee. They're allowed a 1-inch tee.
You made that point earlier.
Frankfurt on top, 7-0. The homestanding London Monarchs with the big turnover. Ernie Stouter, the Galaxy on top by a touchdown. Bobby Phillips is the man scoring the first touchdown of the season for the Frankfurt Galaxy. And Ralph Kleinman, who kicked the extra point, will now kick it away. Abram Smith, Larry Stallworth deep for the London Monarchs. Stallworth might be the fastest player in the World League. Abram Smith fields it at the 10. Works his way up the middle to about the 25-yard line.
Bobby Phillips there on the touchdown. When you get down this close to the goal line, it's a matter of low man wins. And he gets his lineman in front of him to get low enough to get underneath the pads of the Monarchs and give him just enough room to score. Now, he's an allocated player from the Steelers, and that's the kind of tape you want to send back home. And believe me, the scouts from your team watch every week of what goes on. They want to know about your progress.
Tony Vincent for London on their first running play. They threw it 3 times on that opening drive. On third down, it resulted in the turnover when Vincent and White got their signals crossed.
I thought it was interesting talking to Stan White as we look at head coach Lionel Taylor there. The one thing he wanted to improve on the most was seeing more of the field and looking off defensive backs. But seeing more can get you in trouble sometimes.
Tony Vincent got hammered hard by Hillary Butler. And so it'll bring up another third down. As you look at the Frankfurt defensive front, Oscar Sturgis has been allocated by the Miami Dolphins. Bruce Walker has been in the NFL before, and Frank Mesmer, we spoke of him off the top. Sturgis, a young man who's not extremely excited to be in Frankfurt, Germany.
Yeah, he has trouble ordering at McDonald's sometimes, and that can be huge.
3rd and 6, and the ball batted away. Stan White looking for his tight end.
I'll tell you one thing, Ernie Stautner's teams are going to be good in one area for sure, and that's on defense. He's a former defensive coordinator, defensive line coach with the Dallas Cowboys. He's the inventor of the doomsday defense, the flex defense with Randy White, Ed Too Tall, all those guys. So you know those boys on the other side of the ball are going to be flying around like we've seen them fly around.
Brian Greenfield, the punter, went to the University of Pittsburgh. And the ball takes a London roll down to the 22-yard line. And that's where Frankfurt will start their second drive. Good punt by Greenfield. LT Lionel Taylor. Ernie Stautner, two guys who have been around the NFL block. They both have Super Bowl rings. Chad May, originally drafted by the Vikings, now with the Arizona Cardinals. As you look at backs and receivers for Frankfurt, Bobby Phillips scored that touchdown. Jim Kitt, they really like him at fullback, a converted linebacker to fullback. Bailey, Shelley, and Hippler, very talented. Werner Hippler with the Chargers, good hands, a national player who has made it in the National Football League. And again, Bobby Phillips gets the ball, gains maybe a yard. Let's look at the offensive front now for the Frankfurt Galaxy. Nate Miller, allocated by the Falcons. Ron Collins, the only starter back from a year ago. Everybody else is brand new, which is the World League. You have a lot of turnover in this league.
And those turnovers don't just go for the players. Both coaching staffs for both teams have completely turned over except for the head coaches.
2nd and 9. That's to the fullback, Jim Kitt. Let's look at the defensive front now for the London Monarchs. Emil Palmer, allocated by the New Orleans Saints. Big Ben Williams. This guy is a hoss. He's put on about 60 pounds since he graduated from the University of Minnesota 4 years ago. He's about 295 pounds. Hopes to get back in the NFL someday. And he bench presses 620 pounds. Chad May's first pass. What a pass. And a great grab for a first down for Frankfurt, getting his foot down. Jason Shelley.
I tell you what, that's a perfect picture on how to throw the fade route. If you're going to throw the fade route, you have to throw it quick, and it's got to be on a line. He's going to throw right to the left part of your screen. And he's got to throw it before the safety comes, but behind the corner. That ball's right in there. And now they switched the rules around this year. 2 feet inbound, a perfect catch.
Jason Shelley, the cousin of Rashaan Salam of the Chicago Bears, showed some pretty good hands, and Bobby Phillips, woo, gets stood up, but gained 5 yards on the play.
Mario Bradley, cornerback out of University of Southern California with the hit.
Mario doing his Ron Pitts impersonation as we look at the London linebackers. McCoy, Newbill, and John Solomon, who was on the practice squad the entire season for the Green Bay Packers, and he told us before the game, yes, he's getting a ring.
That's right. I didn't play in the game, but I got a ring. That's all that matters.
Hey. As the years go by, he played a lot of minutes. He'll be telling people.
Yeah.
Chad May back to pass, his second pass, and it's a bomb, and it goes out of bounds. He let it fly that time. Looking for Mario Bailey, his #1 guy.
stay on the coverage there.
Brings up third down as we look at the secondary now for the London Monarchs. Really a good secondary. McIntyre, Harris, Gaines, and Bradley. These guys can all play. They're all aggressive guys. You like McIntyre, I know. You like his size.
Yeah, McIntyre is an allocated player from the Rams. He was allocated last year as well. But that's why you're going to see them try to go over to Bradley first and try to get him.
And the blitz. He gets past Newbill, and May throws it up for Bailey.
Boy, Newbill comes inside with the blitz. He misses. And a good job by Kenny Gaines, the safety, of staying downfield. We talked about in the top of the game that Chad May likes to go downtown. Very competitive, a lot of fire, and is not afraid to admit it. And that time, twice now in that series, he went downtown. Three throws. Newbill, 94. He's right there in the center of your screen. He misses the sack off the bat. And that gives the quarterback a chance to reload. But good job by 25, Kenny Gaines, of staying in the post, as they say.
Todrick Malone deep for the London Monarchs. And kicking it away for Frankfurt is Scott Flair, former Florida State kicker for Bobby Bouch down in Seminoles country. Todrick Malone calls for the fair catch, but the ball is deep into the end zone. And the London Monarchs will start from their 20-yard line. Ernie Starter and the Galaxy.
Okay.
On top, 7-0. Welcome back to London. Doug Bell alongside Ron Pitts as you look at LT. Lionel Taylor, not that other LT, but Lionel Taylor, the head coach of the London Monarchs, and he likes his quarterback, Stan White.
Yeah, he does. And, you know, Stan, he said, Stan is very thick-skinned, and that's unusual for an NFL quarterback. You know, guys that haven't made it yet.
Tony Vincent, the leading rusher from a year ago for London, pulls his way forward for a gain of about 4 yards. You see the Fox box. We're closing in on 6 minutes to play first quarter. A much faster game in the World League because they don't stop it on incomplete passes, the clock, unless there's 2 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's also good training in the sense for playing over here, because you got to learn to get in the huddle, get out of the huddle, get your call from the sideline, and run your play.
4 wideouts. Nobody in the backfield. Stan White. Oh, almost a good grab. Looking for Ed Hobbs, his fullback. They sent everybody out.
Yeah, they had no one in the backfield that time to protect for Stan White. That is a 90% pass play right there, or 100% pass play, really. He held the ball a lot. Like we said, he wants to see more. Notice there's nobody in the center of the field. He's trying to get someone there. Nobody there yet. He holds the ball. Good job of the linebacker running up the middle of the field, what we call the seam, with the tight end Pitley. That's where he wanted to go first. 3rd down and 5, and Tony Vincent was the man. I'm not sure if Vincent didn't have a chance to catch that ball.
So it's been a rough start so far for Stan White. A couple of drop passes. Tony Vincent ran a bad route in the first drive, so they'll punt it away one more time.
They look as though they don't really want to push to the perimeters. Like we said, you know, they have a Stallworth and they have a Todrick Malone, but they're also injured. They've got guys that they need to get back out there, so they're going to keep the game inside with the tight end and the back.
Brian Greenfield, his second punt. And Turner fields it at the 35. And he's brought down immediately. Victor around the 39-yard line.
Victor Muhammad.
This guy is built, Ron. Look at that.
He's a national player. And he's a guy that's had time in the NFL. He's gone over and he's gone to the training camps back in 90. He was at the Jets training camp, but just not able to hook on.
Now here are the key rules for those watching the World League maybe for the first time. You get 4 points for a field goal of 50 yards or more. The defense, which is spelled correctly over here in London, in England, the defense can score 2 points. They call it a deuce if they return, block a kick, or intercept a pass on a conversion attempt. And there's a completed pass to Mario Bailey.
Well, you can see they're going to work on Mario Bradley, now the opposing corner, trying to stay away from Kenny McIntyre. But sometimes going at that, what you think is the weak link, can get you in trouble. Because that guy might be a stud over there, and you keep throwing at him, he might pick one off.
Second down and 2. Chad May has shown off a rifle here in the first quarter. And Bobby Phillips on the draw play goes nowhere. In fact, he might have lost a yard.
Now, that play was done by great penetration inside. Richard Newbill, 94, and Jeffrey Hunter, the defensive end. They got the penetration. They made Phillips move. Watch right here. They're in the backfield. There's them 95 Shoal, and then Newbill comes on the outside. They're in the backfield before he can even get back to the line of scrimmage. That's what you call using your front four penetration to stop the running play. Even though those guys didn't make the tackle, they created enough havoc that everybody else was free to get to the play.
Third down and 5, a loss of 3. And there he is again by Newbill. He missed him the last time he blitzed, but he got him that time. Richard Newbill from the University of Miami.
They're bringing Newbill like crazy. He's blitzed at least twice every single play. Now, Newbill will be right there. There he comes. They didn't even touch him. They never even picked it up. They slid the line the opposite direction, and he didn't even get touched.
Newbill, an interesting guy. He's been around. You see, he's 29 years old. He played for the 89 national champions under Dennis Erickson in Miami. And then when Erickson went to the Seahawks, he signed him, so he played the 92 season with the Seahawks. And since then has really bounced around, now in his third year with the London Monarchs. And a flag on the play.
Penalty, repeat, fourth down.
They called the penalty that Frankfurt did not have a national player on the special team.
Right. You have to have a national player on all special teams.
But Frankfurt is showing them, see, there's no number on the front of their jersey.
They're trying to say that they have a national player there. In fact, who are they pointing to? Somebody was jumping up and down.
They were pointing to number 9, who is Ralph Kleinman, the kicker. And he punts it away.
Wow.
To Toderick Malone.
Nice kick.
Who fields it at the 13. Malone with a nice move, looking for some blocks. And he gets nailed around the 18-yard line. Toderick Malone, a young man who had a sensational career at the University of Alabama. He won a lot of ball games for Gene Stallings, who coached with Ernie Stautner at Dallas for many, many years under Tom Landry. Malone, allocated by the Washington Redskins a year ago, injured his ankle. And the Redskins think that this young man has a lot of promise.
Yeah, well, they'll call over and check out their guys. The allocated teams will do that. And that's one of the things Lionel Taylor said, that he just got a call from the Redskins, and they were just checking up to see how Malone had been progressing.
Tony Vincent, a gain of maybe a yard. And you notice that sticker as you listen to Lionel Taylor.
With the counter from the eye. 15, 14. Counter right 14.
You see what he said? Counter right 14. That's going to be a running play. They're going to start the action one way, but they're going to bring it back, counter it completely to the opposite side that they originally started. I believe he said it was to the right.
Second down and 8. And here comes Vincent. Found a hole and works his way up for a gain of about 4 yards. We made mention of the sticker on the back of Malone's helmet. All of the allocated players have the sticker of their respective team in the NFL if they are an allocated player on the back of their helmet.
Right.
In fact, a record number, 112 players were allocated to this league this year by the National Football League.
You see the action there. They started everyone to the left, and then Vincent cut it back. And they're hoping that one defensive player gets out of alignment just enough to create a crease, and that's what they got.
3rd and 3. Staying on the ground, and Tony Vincent, I think, gets the first down.
I tell you, it's almost like golf a little bit. Doug, if you're good on your second shot, you got a chance to have a pretty nice hole. If you're good on second down, you got a good chance to pick it up on third down. Because of that last play, they were left with 3rd and 3 and some nice blocking up front. And Tony Vincent, a very strong guy, a very strong runner. Doesn't look like it out of the pads. He puts the pads on. And here's a guy that was supposed to get married before he came over here and said, you know what, let's postpone it. I got business to take care of.
Although his wife is over here, or his future wife is over with him in London now. As Ed Hobbs was on the carry, but there's a penalty on the play and an injured player. No penalty, just an injured player. Ed Hobbs is the fullback that London did not have a year ago. And LT really believes with Hobbs in the lineup there, you see big number 45, that they're capable of doing many more things.
Yeah, like running people over, number one. That was the problem last year. No, but they didn't have a fullback per se. They had Russell White. They had a former great college player. They had Gaston Green, another former great college player and NFL player. And as we look at Don Reynolds for the Galaxy, he's down. And then they had Tony Vincent. Those are all halfback type people. He said, we didn't have anybody to lead block. That's why we ran so much one-back stuff. We ran so much motion and four-wide type stuff to get out of that situation where we had to lead block. Now we got a big guy that can lead block for us. And hopefully they'll be better running the football because of that.
So Hobbs gains 4, 2nd and 6 as Stan White comes out to the huddle. Stan White wanted us to mention to Dave Brown, who's back in the FX studio, that apparently owes him some money from a golf round or something, and he wanted me to be sure and mention that. And I don't want to get into it all. I'm just passing on information to Dave.
But I bet in order to get that money, Stan can't throw any more interceptions.
And Tony Vincent on the counter gains maybe 2 yards, so it'll bring up 3rd and 3, just like they had on the last time.
Let's go with the lead.
Now, they had success. You heard them say, let's go with the lead from the I. They're going to go I formation, meaning both backs will be right behind each other, and they're going to run it straight up the middle. They had success picking up the first down before.
Vincent gets another first down. So that big fullback, Ed Hobbs, is blowing him out up front. And Tony Vincent, a big guy himself, just follows right behind. Hobbs is 240 pounds, and Vincent is 230.
But I got to tell you, though, Doug, you got to give credit to Tony McKenzie, 64, Mark Lamb, 79, and Wisdom, 68, on that front line. Those 3 guys right there are doing a pretty good job of mashing on people and getting those 3 tough yards.
This will be the last play of the quarter. And the completed pass to Stallworth. Larry Stallworth won't go down. Bad hamstrings and all. A gain of 6 yards. So the Monarchs have it rolling right now. And the first quarter is in the books. The Frankfurt Galaxy take advantage of an early turnover. And they lead the London Monarchs at Stamford Bridge in Chelsea 7-0. Welcome back to London with the Frankfurt Galaxy on top 7-0 over the Monarchs as we start the second quarter. Doug Bell alongside Ron Pitts. Stan White from the New York Giants is the quarterback for the London Monarchs. It's 2nd down and 4. The Monarchs 2 straight first downs, and they've done it mostly on the ground. Stan White runs for close to the first down. He's about a half a yard short. Stan White, really a mobile guy with a lot of talent, a great arm. Here he is with the New York Giants. And his only action really in the preseason last year, this really saved his job. He was excellent against the Ravens during the preseason.
What did he say?
He had his bags packed.
Yeah, he had the bags packed before they went to the game. He knew he was out of there. And he figured, well, he's telling Phil Simms, well, I'm cut, so if I have to go in, I'm just going to go nuts. I'm going to try everything.
Another first down. Ed Hobbs, the fullback, makes it 3 in a row for the London Monarchs.
You can see the Monarchs game has switched from trying to come out and pass a little bit to, okay, let's run the football, smash mouth football, inside tough. And you got to give that to that man right there, Lionel Taylor, for realizing, okay, we're a little shorthand on the outside, but now's a good time to try the play action and pass it.
Roderick Malone Breaks a tackle and gets another first down. That was a little Auburn to Alabama connection. Stan White to Toderick Malone.
See, because they've been running so much, the front four of the Galaxy, they've kind of sitting on their heels. And you see a nice job right there by 72 Derek Turner. Just stands his man up, giving Stan White room to throw the football. Boy, things are so different over here than they are back at home in the NFL. Facilities are different. Dorm rooms are not quite the size of the dorm rooms back home in training camp.
There's the draw play as the Monarchs continue to surge forward, continue to eat up the clock. A very impressive drive with those two big hosses in the backfield. That time, Tony Vincent. Talk about culture shock. Toderick Malone from a small little town in Alabama, Atala, Alabama. And he's overseas for the very first time. And he says, yeah, it's a little different than home. And there he is, wide open. Run out of bounds by Doggett.
Excuse me, Doug. I get the feeling that Stan White took him a little time to settle down here. You know, these guys have only been together like 3 weeks max, 4 weeks max. But now he's into it. And look at the protection. This is what you want. A pocket, a line right there where the quarterback feels completely safe. Look at that. When the quarterback can hit the back step of his drop and not have anyone near him to even touch him, that's excellent protection up front.
Stan White, a quick hitter to the tight end, but Stan just couldn't get it out of his hand.
Yeah, he's pointing to himself. That's on me. That's on me. And, you know, Mike Titley, a guy who bounced around, tried to hook on to NFL teams for a lot of years, he's been huge over here. You know, that's a case where a guy is just a little bit away from making an NFL team. You know, sometimes it's political, sometimes it's a size thing, sometimes the guy just doesn't have a good training camp, but this is his 3rd year back here, 3rd year with the Monarchs.
2nd and 10, looking for Toderick Malone in the end zone, and it's batted away.
Great play by
Cecil Doggett. Saved a touchdown. Doggett in his 3rd year with the Galaxy. Let's look at the first quarter numbers.
You see the time of possession is pretty equal. And the rushing yards, I think the Monarchs have just these last few downs here have gotten that back. But the turnovers are what's keeping them in the game. The Galaxy with 3 big turnovers.
Opening drive was the interception. And Steve Brooks, another talented tight end on this team. A guy who's also an excellent long snapper, and that's what he did last season for the Detroit Lions.
Brooks is going to be on the left side over here. He's going to work out to the outside. And nothing fancy. This is a part of, I said West Coast style of offense like the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers try to run. But Lionel Taylor said, nah, not really. We're just trying to pass on rhythm, pass quick, and spread the ball out.
Clive Allen is the national player for the London Monarchs, their national kicker.
Timeout, Frankfurt. Charge 2nd team timeout.
Galaxy calls a timeout and will take a breather. The Monarchs trying to get on the board, and we'll find out what they do right after this. LT has thought things over, and he's pulled his kicking unit, and his offense is back on the field. It's 4th down and 6. Stan White getting the call from the sidelines.
It sounded as though Lionel Taylor sent in a pass play, and the way Stan looked to the sidelines, he might have checked out of it.
Nobody was open. Stan White hung in the pocket, and the ball was batted away, so the Galaxy will take over on downs.
He hung in there a little bit too long. That was just a coverage bust or a coverage stack, so to speak. He had no place to throw the ball. They try to drag Titley. the tight end right there across the field, that's who he wanted to go to right away, but he couldn't get it. And the more he holds, now the rush gets to him. Good job up front by the Galaxy, better job by the secondary.
So it was an impressive drive until it bogged down, and they opted to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal, and so the Galaxy with a football. Chad May at quarterback. Play action pass, looking for the tight end, and that was a rifle shot to the tight end, a gain of about 7 yards.
Looks like Vince Morrow. What did Vince Morrow say to us before the game? He said, where is this being broadcast? I asked the people back home, I want to make sure they can get the game. Well, when you're catching balls like that, and then breaking tackles like that, and making plays like that, you do want to know if your people can get you on TV. Well, they got you that time, Vince, and they're happy.
2nd down and about 1. Phillips with the football, and it's a 1st down for the Galaxy. Actually, that's Vernon Turner on the carry. He's in for Phillips. First-year player from Carson Newman College. First year with the Galaxy. He played with the Buccaneers in 1996.
That's Turner right there. You can see he's got great vision. You know, he was supposed to go straight ahead, but the hole wasn't there. He's quick enough, and like I said, has the vision enough to bounce it outside and make something out of it. Falls on the ground.
There's a fumble.
Looks like London has it.
The Monarchs have pounced on it. Yes, they have. London football. And they get the crowd here at Stamford Bridge fired up. The Monarchs really have a rich tradition when it comes to the World League. They won this thing in the very first year in 1991 as you look at the turnover.
They come back right here. Now, it looks as though May never really got the ball. You can see the ball floating around right there. And when you get under all those bodies, it's hard to tell what's the ball, what's a shoe, what's an arm, what's anything.
So the turnovers are all tied up. 1 for each team. We'll see if the Monarchs can capitalize. Vincent pulls forward for a gain of about 5 yards.
Look at Ernie. You know, Ernie may have, how many coaches?
What happened on it?
Want to know what happened? How many coaches in the world have a World League championship ring? Have a Super Bowl ring. We've got 2 of those from coaching with the Cowboys. I think he's the only one.
And why that time too hard for Todrick Malone. Ernie's really a fun guy to talk to. He said his first contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers, $5,600?
Well, $6,000.
$6,000.
But he had a better offer from
the New York
team
Yankees.
from the other league before the leagues merged with the New York Yankees. And he said he took the Pittsburgh offer, and then the leagues merged like a week later.
Till that time. Get over there and let me.
And there is the man they call Velcro. Michael Titley, the tight end, has yet to catch on with an NFL team. But they say this young man has maybe the best hands in the World League, some of the best hands anywhere.
Yeah.
Dan White was marveling at some of the catches this guy comes up with.
Mike Titley right there, just circled. That's the guy he wants to try to go to on the left side of your screen. And you can see he's going to look the whole way. And that gives a defender a chance to break on that ball, but that's great coverage there.
4th down.
Is right all over him.
And a timeout for London.
London, that's the team's first charge timeout.
Guys haven't been together for very long. And so London takes a timeout as Don Silvestri from the Jets comes on as they get geared up for a field goal attempt. We'll be back. Frankfurt on top, 7-0. Don Silvestri from the New York Jets, a left-footed kicker, will attempt this one from about 37 yards. Now, the World League rule, the national kicker must attempt all PATs and kicks of 32 yards or less. That's why earlier Clive Allen of soccer fame in London was on hand. But the longer kick goes to Silvestri. And he's wide left. So London is still unable to score. Silvestri, by the way, you're allowed a 1-inch tee to kick if you like. Ralph Kleinman, for example, for Frankfurt uses that. But Silvestri, being an NFL kicker, does what they do in the NFL naturally.
Well, right. He doesn't want to come over here and get in any bad habits, because when he goes back there, he's not going to be allowed to use the tee. Coming and missing field goals, that's a bad habit right there. I know he wants to try to avoid.
Silvestri handled the kickoff duties for the Jets a year ago. But he'd like to nail down both jobs. So Chad May in the Frankfurt Galaxy on the attack again, and Vernon Turner, a little step back, breaks the tackle, gets the first down, flags down.
Boy, that was a nice block by number 19, Jim Kitt. But all for naught.
Yeah.
Holding the call, it looks like, against Frankfurt. That's too bad. That was a great run by the little guy.
Holding, number 86, offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
Werner Hippler, the national player.
That's Hippler. Hippler's right there. Watch the way he turns here, and I think, see, I got that shirt pulled.
Yep.
Yep. He grabbed number 55. That's McCoy. And that's where, and that's a valid call. That's a good call, because McCoy has a legit chance to make the play. Those are the kind of calls that should be made.
First down and 20, Chad May. Woo. Hits Hippler. Check that was Solomon on the tackle. That's the young man who was on the Packers practice squad with a stick.
Hippler's going to come all the way across the screen right there. A nice play. You fake one way, go there, but look at the hit. Boy, and Chad May took a shot also. Nice play action, roll around to the reverse side. And looks like Showell put the hit on him right there. If that's as hard as you get hit,
yeah,
as a quarterback, then you're doing all right.
That was a lump tap compared to what Solomon laid on Hippler. And Chad May calls timeout. Let's listen in. Ernie and his quarterback, Chad May.
Shit. Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Well, that just about sums up Ernie's feelings on that play. Chad May, as you look at the World League next week, on Saturday, it's Frankfurt against Amsterdam. The next day, the Scottish Claymores against the Barcelona Dragons. That's where Ron and I will be. Also, the Rhine Fire against these very same London Monarchs. The Rhine Fire, coached by Galen Hall.
You know, when Chad May walked into the meeting room last night to talk to us, I almost said, all right, turn around and go back to your room and get up on the right side of the bed, then come back down here when you want to talk. And he's really not like that. It's just he's an intense guy. And he's a fierce competitor. And you can see in his eyes that his whole gig is, okay, forget the training camp. Georgia was nice and all that, but now I want to play football. And, you know, he's got a legit shot to be the number 2 out there. It really does. You know, Kent Graham is going to be the number 1 for all intents and purposes, but hey, and Stoney Case is also playing in the league as well, the Cardinals' other backup quarterback. So he's got a legit shot to do well over here, and he thinks that it's going to be between he and Case as to who they decide to be the number 2. Pick as the number 2, and they're going to use the World League as the proving ground for that.
As the barometers, you look at the London fans. You know, London, as we mentioned earlier, won this thing in its inaugural season in 1991. They played at Wembley Stadium. The crowds were unbelievable. Stan Gelball was their quarterback. They say the most popular player in London history. And now another quarterback named Stan is in charge of the Monarchs. Chad May, though, doing a nice job. He had an open receiver, Vernon Turner, who was wide open for a first down and more, but he couldn't hold on. Boy, that's killer. because Chad May threw a nice pass in there.
I mean, he's back in the shotgun. He's going to have the extra time. Boy, those are the kind of plays that kill your average. He's got that extra time. They got some penetration, but this ball's right there.
Ooh.
Boy, Vernon, those are the kind of plays that you want to send back home. He's going to try to intercept that failed kick.
3rd and 13.
Oh.
There's the pick.
They got to try to...
The Monarchs might tie this thing up. Kenny McIntyre. Touchdown, London. Kenny McIntyre.
And that is exactly why they didn't throw to McIntyre's side.
Kenny McIntyre, 51 yards. Kenny from Kansas State. And he picks his old buddy from Kansas State. And runs it in for the touch.
I'm not sure where May was throwing that ball, but there were a lot of blue shirts around.
Every time London scores a touchdown, they let the cannon off. It's almost like we're at an Army-Navy game. Clive Allen.
Oh, that that looks pretty ugly.
That's out of bounds if you're on the golf course. And that's a 2-stroke penalty.
Can you drop over there and then kick again?
Unfortunately, in football, you can't.
Tag got me the first time. He ain't gonna give me
We
no.
mentioned the allocated player from the Rams. Hurt himself last year, but now he's back in the fold. Watch all the blue shirts around the ball. Freeze it right here. There's a lot of blue shirts around. I'm not sure where May was throwing that. See here, he's trying to go to Bailey, but Bailey's got his back turned, and there were 3 Monarchs around. And now this is the difference between a good football play and a great football play. He doesn't just make the interception, he takes it back to the house for a touchdown. And that's what the NFL teams back home want to see.
So Kenny McIntyre gets the Monarchs on the board, but unfortunately, Clive Allen, the national kicker, couldn't tie it up. They trail 7-6.
McIntyre actually last year was allocated by the Chiefs, but missed the entire season because of his shoulder. His shoulder's fine. He told me it was fine the other day. He's just looking forward to making some big plays. And it's funny, everybody said, in addition to the offense and defense, they said that I got to play more on special teams, because that is the one area where it seems to push you over the edge. Because if you're even, and then another guy is good on special teams, well, they're going to keep him. It all comes down to the more you can do. And once again, the turnovers.
Don Silvestri will kick off for the Monarchs. Jason Shelley deep for the Galaxy, along with Vernon Turner. And Turner fields it at the 3, busts up the middle, and gets out to the 32-yard line. Nice return for Turner. Turner's the guy who dropped that wide-open pass from Chad May, which led to the next pass, which was the big turnover.
Here's an isolation of Victor Muhammad, the national player for the Monarchs. I tell you, this is as tough as it gets right here. Now, he's got to take on 3 guys and try to find a way to get back to the football. And you know what? He's going to get credit for not only fighting and mixing it up at the end, but for being in on a tackle and assist. That was one of my good tricks, fall in the pile and get an assist credit.
Yeah, you're full of those tricks, man. I'm learning that just spending a week with you. Bobby Phillips.
You got to see me on the golf course.
Well, we'll be in Scotland next week.
No thanks.
So I'm looking forward to it. Phillips on the carry. He's the man who scored the first touchdown.
You can see on the back of his helmet right there, he had that Pittsburgh Steelers emblem that signifies that he is property, so to speak, of the Pittsburgh Steelers allocated.
Gains 5, 2nd and 5. And again, it's Phillips.
Boy,
Squirting forward for about a yard.
That's a nice shot there. Our director, Mark Grant, is showing you how fast things happen inside. You know, people want to know, well, why didn't he just run right through the hole that was there? But when you turn it around and look at it from a different angle, you know, it looks like, okay, the hole is right there. Yeah, great. But all of a sudden, bodies appear, don't they, real fast. That's a great shot. That shows us things that we don't normally see from football.
3rd and 3. Phillips gets the first down. There's the time remaining before halftime in our Fox box.
The good thing about what, if you look at Phillips there, that Kenny McIntyre just did for himself is that you can bet Chad May is going to think twice before he throws to the other side or to his side again. And that's exactly what you want.
There are the numbers for Phillips. 5'9", 198 pounds. Chad May gets nailed. Big time sack.
Malcolm Scholl did a lot of damage last year with the Amsterdam Admirals. Was a legit guy coming around the corner to sack the quarterback. So I think he was a perfect pickup for them here at the Monarchs. They got heat. Now he's going to come right there, right from the left side. And May, he'll be right from over here. He's going to come inside. May is looking the opposite side. There's no way he has a chance. No chance at all. Ron Collins was standing over him. You can tell by the way he ran back to try to pick him up.
And a timeout on the field. And another penalty against Frankfurt for not having a national player on the field, a 5-yarder.
Boy, I know Ernie's hot over this.
Brings up
Yeah, Ernie, that's right. Just be quiet. We got the camera on.
And the blitz, and Chad May goes down again. Richard Newbill, who got a sack earlier, gets number 2.
Boy, there was pressure everywhere. Ben Williams, the tackle, he got the first pressure. He misses, but then Newbill comes around from the linebacker position again and makes the sack. Newbill right there. Watch what he does. He's going to loop inside. Now, he's supposed to be picked up by number 30. That's Phillips. But now, when you put your back, a little back on a big linebacker, that's going to be hard. He should be able to stay with him better than he did.
3rd and 29.
Guy.
Mario Bailey with a grab, flag down on the play. We'll check. There's a flag right at the feet of Chad May. A gain of about 14 on the quick hitter to Mario Bailey.
Chad May took a shot afterwards. I don't know if that's a roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 75, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Jeff Hunter nailed for the late hit.
Watch right here. Now, he's going to let go of the ball. The ball's going to be out of his hand, and then he's going to get hit. You're allowed one step. That's clearly more than one step. The ball's gone. It's a good call.
Jeff Hunter. Now, in this league, if you're called for an intentional unnecessary roughness, you have to sit out 2 plays, but obviously that was just an unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, that was kind of just a friendly, I don't like you, not I really hate your guts type necessary roughness.
I'm still not sure how they decipher that. But anyway.
By how many bad words you say to the referee afterwards, that's how they decided.
So it's a first down. That was 3rd and 29, and they got out of the hole. And there's your man again, Vince Morrow.
Boy, that's...
Vince went in the locker room before the game and called home. Said, FX, watch FX.
I believe he did. Now, Morrow is right there. He's going to drag all the way across the field. The action's going to start with Made this way, then he's going to loop around. That's what makes this play so successful. He fakes it, and there it is. I don't care what league you're playing in, any kind of misdirection, when they get you to start one way and come back, is going to be hard.
First and 10 for the Galaxy. And there's Mr. Phillips again, working his way up for a gain of about 6 yards.
This is where Ernie Stoutner is counting on Chad May to pick this team up. Their defense has been the strong point. And whenever they've got behind in the pass with Pallure, the defense has always made plays. Now you see May is taking the offense down the field.
Second and short. And Phillips again with a huge haul and another first down for the Galaxy. Kevin Gaines finally wrestles him down, but I can't get over that big penalty. I mean, it was 3rd and 29.
That's the difference.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, we're talking about the offense doing a good job, but hey, you get a rough in the passer, you would have been off the field. But now you get a decent run here by Phillips, and you're in field goal range.
LT in his short sleeves will probably put on a jacket in the second half as you look at the timeouts remaining. Things are cooling off here at Stamford Bridge. And Phillips again. And a flag on the play.
Oh, it looks like they're going to try to get Nate Miller, 55. The left guard came around.
Phillips has been a workhorse. That was his 13th carry, already for 58 yards. Many of these officials are from the National Football League, others from the college ranks, and there's one national official on every crew.
Holding, number 77, offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Yeah, they didn't get Nate Miller. They got Joe Corolla, the center, for holding. He'll be right there. He'll be the center. Let's watch him closely. Yeah, he's got a nice little bear hug going there. He's got both pads and kind of twisted around. But you know what, Doug, they can call that. See, he didn't like it. They can call that any play. There's so much of that going on. It actually looked like Nate Miller, the guard, came around. He got a nice loophole on somebody.
And they're still discussing things. The play clock in the corner of the field is malfunctioning a bit, so they're getting that straightened out. And here we go. First down and 20. Chad May likes these first and 20s, 3rd and 29. They don't seem to bother him. He threw behind his receiver.
It looked like he was expecting a comeback route.
Looking for Jason Shelley, but he threw behind Shelley.
What? 2-minute warning.
2 minutes, and now this means from here on out the clock will stop on incomplete passes. And we'll take a break. From London, Frankfurt on top of the Monarchs by 1. Welcome back to Stamford Bridge in Chelsea. Doug Bell alongside Ron Pitts. Frankfurt on top 7-6. Timeouts left. London with 3, and the Galaxy have already burned a couple.
Yeah, and this all still goes back to the penalty, the roughing the passer. I mean, that was a huge 15 yards that kept the drive alive on an incompleted 3rd down.
Second down and 20.
Oh, Newbill.
Failed again in Newbill. Making a career on the blitz right up the pipe.
See, there's a problem with protection in terms of who's accountable fumble for who from the offensive line. Newville just walked up to the line, stood there, and now the offensive line, there he is. He's going to walk up and stand there, and now they're not sure who to take. He loops around the outside. They never even see it. When he's in that position just standing there, everybody's accounted for, but then when he takes off and come and loops, nobody's sure what's going on. And now nobody knows what's going on with the ball on the ground, that's for sure.
Boy, Frankfurt is retreating in the worst sort of way. All the way back to the 45-yard line. Line of scrimmage is up at the 22.
A lot of trouble with snaps. And you know why? They're putting pressure up front on Joe Corolla, the center, by the pass rush. He's getting a little antsy. He's more worried about picking up those blitzing linebackers like Newville, and he's not thinking about snapping the ball. And I think that's why they're starting to have some miscues.
There's Scott Player, the young man who's from Florida State.
Boy, we could hear the coaches next door yelling and screaming down to the field.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
And they don't have a national player on the field. That's like the 3rd time that's happened. And so they hustle on a national player and Scott Player.
Well, you saw Ernie getting on someone there for not letting everyone know when the national is supposed to be on the field, and it seems like the Galaxy have had more problems with that than anyone else.
And another stoppage. They put it back another yard.
The London defense steps up and comes through, even with the bad penalty on the roughing the passer. They come up with some great plays and shut them down and force them to punt.
Well, it's 4th down in almost the entire field, and Scott Player will boot it away. Nice kick. McIntyre, who returned that interception for the touch, calls the fair catch at about the 15. So with 1:08 on the clock, Stan White and the Monarchs a chance to grab the lead before halftime.
Funny, talking to Lionel Taylor yesterday, I said, you know, Coach, I heard a rumor that you were the all-time leading receptor in reception for the Denver Broncos. And he just laughed. And I said, what was the number? And he said, I'm not telling you anything. I said, well, I'll just look it up in the book. And he said, that book's wrong.
Hey, McKenzie in there? McKenzie!
But you want to talk about a player's coach? He's the type of guy that will get on everybody and has a one-to-one relationship, and I think the guys respect that.
Dan White, the stalwart, skipped that one in. Larry Stalwart, that bounce. So it brings up 2nd down. Stan White, 5 of 16 for 36 yards. And now another flag down.
Well, you talk about coaching some great ones. Lionel Taylor coached a lot of years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talk about guys like Frank Lewis, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Interesting what he said about Stallworth. He said, you are so slow. What you have to do is pump your arm intensely when you run to give the illusion that you're faster than you really are. And that's what Lynn Swann did a lot. He said Lynn Swann was maybe a 4'6", 4'7" guy. He didn't play like it.
He was ready on game day.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
In fact, he's even gone in to compare.
Who came out? Go get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Come on.
He's even gone to compare Larry Stallworth in a little bit, in a few ways, to Frank Lewis with the smoothness and his strides and acceleration and coming in and out of breaks.
Yes, man, get the guy out. Get him in. Get him out. Now let's go.
And London trying to get their national player
guys,
out.
we know what we're doing. Now let's go.
Illegal substitution on the offense. Did not have a
That could be a
national player
case
on the
where
field on the last play.
a guy didn't want to come
The
out.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
So here we go. LT told us a great story, too, because we were talking to him. And he had that huge Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl ring on.
Right. If you don't gain a first down, just run the ball. We'll kill the clock.
And he told us that he doesn't wear it during the game because oftentimes he gets frustrated.
Look out, man.
Hits his forehead.
I don't give a damn. This is where they're marking it. You don't have any choice.
And he said oftentimes he hits his forehead with that Super Bowl ring and causes a cut.
That's when you know things are going bad, when your Super Bowl ring cuts you.
Well, Todrick Malone on the reception, but they'll kill the clock now.
Go ahead up. Third down.
Brings up third down and about 9.
I'm trying to see if he's got the ring on. Yeah, there's the ring. He's got it on his left hand. But he's got the cap on as well, so he's got the protection.
And if there's ever a time to slam your head to your forehead, now's the time. There's Vincent. Tripped up by Greg Evans. Time is ticking away.
Those are the kind of plays that Vincent has to try to step over. You know, you're not going to bring down the great running back in the league with just a clip on the shoe.
And that's it. That's the end of the first half. Pretty much what we expected for a first game. These two teams have not been with each other for very long. They practiced for several weeks in Carrollton, Georgia. That's where the World League training camp took place. And then they're over here for 2 weeks. And then they play a game. So we saw a lot of mistakes. Not only on the field, but in the press box. Several penalties for not having the national players on the field. But there it is at halftime. Frankfurt on top, 7-6.
Welcome back to jolly old England, and right now Frankfurt on top of London, 7-6. Doug Bell alongside Ron Pitts over from Fox NFL. Jolly. And it's been jolly. It hasn't been a jolly time for either team. It's really been sloppy early on. Almost what you expect in a World League game.
It was jolly for Frankfurt early on. Bobby Phillips here, first score of the game. Just a matter of getting his offensive lineman low. They just plunge in and made it 6-0.
And then the play that gets all old BB very excited. I mean, you love this stuff, don't you?
Decent chip block here, 24, Ingo Seibert. But I'm not really sure where Chad May's throwing this ball. That's 1 blue shirt, 2 blue shirts, 3 blue shirts, and the receiver Bailey isn't even looking at the ball. You're going to see a nice cutback block coming right there. Very nice. And I thought Big Ron Collins had a shot.
Yeah.
He almost rolls up on the referee's leg.
Kind of eased up as you look at the quarterback numbers. Stan White, 7 for 17 for 42 yards. Had that early interception that led to the touchdown for Frankfurt. And Chad May, 6 out of 11 for 62 yards. So both of these allocated quarterbacks, Stan from the Giants and Chad from the Arizona Cardinals, haven't exactly torn it up. But Chad May has been on the loose because his offensive line has not given him a lot of protection.
Right. And, you know, this is what the league is for in terms of quarterbacks coming over here. You know, they're not going to come over here and burn it up. These are not starting NFL quarterbacks. These are guys who need to get more looks, who need to see more things, and they've admitted that themselves, and that's exactly the kind of start you would expect from them right now. But like they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish up and what you do in between.
Silvestri with the boot. And Vernon Turner fields it at the 5.
Boy, that wedge is slow.
And he puts a nice move on the London defender, gets it up to the 25-yard line. And here comes Chad May. The old Kansas State Wildcat. Then in college, now, Kansas State, they were not shy. They would throw it 40, 45 times a game. His arm was tired after the games at Kansas State.
Yeah, well, he's a guy that I think has to be in an offense that's going to throw relatively a large amount of time and throw it early.
Right.
He seems like he needs to get into a rhythm. You start too much of that running stuff, and he's going to get out of it.
And Bobby Phillips, who scored that first touchdown, tumbles forward for a gain of 9 yards. A good surge by the offensive line for Frankfurt. As you look at the first half numbers, the Galaxy on top in total offense. Ouch on the quarterback sacks.
Yeah, that's the thing. The sacks, and we talked about it. The offensive line, you mentioned it, has not been able to hold up to some of the blitzing that's gone on, and especially Newbill, the Monarchs linebacker, middle linebacker. He's been looping around and making all kind of plays.
Chad May letting it loose to Bailey, and it's another pick. And our same guy, Kenny McIntyre, the old Kansas State Wildcat, with another interception, flag on the play. Big day so far for Mr. McIntyre. And he rips off the helmet and lets them know about it.
If I'm Chad May, I think I'm going to leave Kenny McIntyre alone for a while.
Yeah.
But, you know, they started off at the face mask penalty, probably on Bailey after the interception occurred when he was trying to tackle. Then again, yeah, that's what it is.
Team, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the interception. First down.
Chad May airing it out. But again, his receiver just wasn't open.
Watch the way McIntyre, see the way he went up and got the ball, and he called right there, that's the face mask, and that's a good call. That's an excellent call. But you see the way he went up and took the ball. He didn't wait and chest catch it or pocket catch it. He went up and got the ball. That's a good NFL technique right there. That's what every secondary coach in the league will try to teach you, to go get it.
Stan White to Ed Hobbs, his big fullback.
You can tell there's a little rust here. You know, coming over here, we talked to Stan and Chad. You know, you have the time change difference, and they were in training camp for a short number of weeks, and then they come over here. The surroundings are different, and everything's different. You know, it's not easy just to put on your stuff and play football.
The Galaxy with 3 turnovers now, but it hasn't hurt him so far. Stan White hopes to make him pay, and there's Titley, his tight end, who was wide open. And it's a first down up to the 45-yard line. Titley is another guy who's been very close to making an NFL team, but gets to that final cut every time and just somehow never makes it.
There's Titley right there. He's going to work up the seam. No one carries him. Nobody's in that part of the zone defense. And it's a good job of Titley of knowing to get in that soft area, and then a better job by Stan White of finding it amidst all that drama of people rushing him.
1st and 10. Again, Vincent, the leading rusher from a year ago, is back. And Ronnie mentioned it earlier in the game. He was going to get married and decided to come back over and play. So they postponed the wedding, and his fiancée is here with him in London, enjoying the sights.
Happy, we think.
Well, I'm not sure after eating some of that training food the other day that you and I...
Yeah, well, but you know what? He said, yeah, it's business as usual. We're not getting married yet, but I noticed he took her with him. So that was part of the deal. That was the back end of the deal.
Tony gets the first down. Good blocking up front. Jack Kellogg, Chris Hall runs him out of bounds.
Oh, that's a good job there, Benson, using his strength. Benson's a strong guy. Now he's going to get some slack out here in the perimeter. Nice block inside there. But see, look like that stiff arm. He just puts it right on the face mask there, Chris Hall, and makes some extra yards. Now he's the guy who was allocated last year. Didn't hook on, but you got to remember he was allocated by the Falcons, and they had a guy who really became a top fullback in the league in Jamal Anderson. Jamal Anderson stunned everybody. So unfortunately, you can just pick the wrong team to be allocated by and shoot down your chances, even though you may be pretty solid.
They also had Ironhead.
And they had Ironhead, yeah.
So there's no room for Tony Vincent.
Not to mention other little guys who are halfback, half receivers like Eric Metcalf. You know a little bit about this game as well.
Dan White back to pass.
Look at the time.
And wide open is Coderick Malone with a grab, knocked out of bounds, another first down. Cecil Doggett ran him out of bounds, but Coderick Malone ran circles around him to get open for that grab from Stan White.
I want you to watch the protection that he has from his offensive lineman up here. Look at that. That's called a perfect pocket. I mean, they say that for a reason because he can actually step up and be fully protected and throw comfortably. And then he gets the ball outside to the perimeter. To Malone, guys that have been relatively quiet all game long.
Oh, he got nailed from behind, Stan White.
And as we just talk about that protection.
And we'll see if his arm was in motion or they called it a fumble. His arm was moving forward.
If his arm is coming forward, that will be an incomplete pass.
That's what they called it. Sean Banks, we think, on the outside blitz, nailed him from behind.
Hey, you're in for Hobbs. Let's run the draw.
Brings up third down. You heard LT, Lionel Taylor.
They're going to run the draw. That's a play where they're going to fake like a pass, drop back. Stan's going to try to sell it like a pass, and then they're going to hand it off up the middle at the last minute. Watch the blocking from the offensive lineman. Let's see if they do their job.
Vincent on the carry. Well-executed draw play, but it was 3rd and 15, so that just gets them closer for a go-ahead field goal. Although there's no indication they're going to go for the field goal.
Be sure he's wide ass open or not. And flags on the outside. Flags on the outside.
Be sure someone is very wide open, that's for sure. And then flags on the outside. In other words, the two outside receivers are going to try to go to the corner of the end zone. Boy, and there's not a lot of room back there in the corners.
All right, it's only 3rd down, and there's the tight end. And it's a close to a touchdown.
I think you got it.
He's wrestled out at about the half-yard line. Steve Brooks.
Well, we had a nice conversation with Steve Brooks before the game. Steve Brooks, not only does he long snap on the football field as well as play tight end, but he's also an actor, a full-time actor. Been in 90201 Beverly Hills.
Frank Metzmer. Now, you know all about that, being in some movies of your own, right?
No, that's rumor. That's rumor.
I'm working with an
touch
actor,
a guy like Steve Brooks.
An actor on the field. A lot of Hollywood over here in London right now.
How about his watch? How about Steve Brooks' watch? He looked like one of those real high-tech watches. I said, oh, you got that over here at Storm, didn't you, in London? He said, no, this is from Venice Beach, California.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He said his biggest thrill so far in the National Football League. He's a great long snapper, and everybody is looking for a long snapper. Lionel Taylor and the Monarchs looking to go on top. It's 1st and goal from about the half-yard line. 10th play of the drive. Very impressive to start the second half.
This is a part of the field where, as we were talking before, the end zones are so short and they've got a big wall back there. You're almost inclined just to try to run it.
Whoa, rumbles the football, and Frankfurt jumps on it. It looks like the Galaxy. Oh.
What a hit.
They sure did. Frankfurt football. Ed Hobbs just got nailed.
Boy, that is a huge, huge play for the Galaxy. And Hobbs, you talk about a huge guy. He rolls in at around 250, but he wasn't expecting the load. He just got dropped on him that time.
Hillary Butler, second-year player from Washington. Turnover department is all tied up.
Those are the kind of plays that change games.
I just got to go up and over. Let's go up and over.
Right here, I want you to watch these linebackers right here. Hillary Butler is going to come through and make a hit. Bam! That ball is out. That is called wood to wood. And he knows it. Those are the kind of shots that when you send that tape back home to the scouts, they start drooling.
Bobby Phillips trying to give Frankfurt some breathing room. And he gets it out to about the 4-yard line.
I mean, Hillary plays this perfect. And with a name like Hillary at linebacker, you better play it perfect. Look at that shot. The ball is out. He rocks him, and it's a turnover on the goal line. A crucial one in a crucial game. Big-time play. Pro Bowl type play right there.
And Chris Hall on the recovery. It's now 2nd down and 6, a gain of 4 for Phillips. And again, another big hole. Frankfurt does a nice job blocking when they surge out forward, but pass blocking is another story.
You're absolutely right, Doug. I see some decent surge, but the pass protection, they've been all over Chad.
It's 3rd and about 1. So if they just keep plugging up the middle.
Boy, it's hard to believe. He's got quiet 75 yards. That man is rolling.
Right behind another big block.
Look at the leg drive there. You see the way he carried people. You know, it's one thing to count a guy on a tackle and how many people take the tackle, but how many tackles does he break? How long does he run after the initial hit? I want you to watch the first hit and then watch his legs very carefully. Bam, that's one. Now he's going to drive. He drives Newbill 5 yards down the field after the initial hit. And that's supposed to be a little guy.
And again, Bobby Phillips, but that time Ed Berman and company, throw him down for maybe 1 yard.
See, here's where what they call a sudden change. When you look at Ernie Stoutner, a sudden change situation affects your defense. The defense is sitting on the sidelines, very relaxed, calm. The team is about to go in for the score. They're ready to celebrate. All of a sudden, bam, fumble. They're on the field. They had great field position. They should have never let them out of the hole. They got to stop thinking about the fumble and worry about stopping the Galaxy right now.
2nd and 9. Vernon Turner following his lead block.
Did you see the blocking on the outside by Jason Shelley, the wide receiver?
Flag down on the play, Ron. So we'll check that. It was close to the first down.
Face mask.
Face mask against London, so things are not going the Monarchs' way. They've had golden opportunities go by the wayside.
Face mask, number 22, defense, 5 yard only, first down.
Another first down for Frankfurt. You see LT look a little worried, and that's because this is only a 10-game season.
Here it is, the play. The penalty's going to occur right there. You could just see at the last minute Turner's head turned around.
And up the middle again is Vernon Turner. It's a 10-game season, 6 teams. You play everybody twice. And after the first 5 weeks, if you're in first place, you're in the World Bowl. So it pays to get off to a quick start this week.
Get off to a good start. Both coaches said the same thing about this year. They both have new staff. But then they said, we don't know what to expect. We had a lot of guys leaving. And that's what this league is about. You're going to have different guys all over the ball.
2nd down. They're staying on the ground, and why not? That was a gaping hole and a flag down from behind. That's usually holding. And that's the signal. Holding against Frankfurt, so they'll go backwards. Penalties and turnovers have killed that man's offense today.
That's the first miscue they've had.
Holding, number 77, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
And again, the center, Joe Carollo, from Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, gets called for a 2nd holding penalty on the afternoon.
Joe Carollo down there, he's the center. Like we said, these guys, boy, that's pretty chintzy. I don't know about that. Unless he had that left hand up underneath the pad or shirt somehow, that looked like a pretty decent block.
We saw Joe before the game. He looks like a center. That guy's pumped up, man, I tell you.
2'6'3".
Chad May, good play action fake. Mario Bailey, looked like the ball might have bounced, but they give him the reception. Lowell Blenman on the stop.
But Bailey's the guy who comes into the game here, all-time Galaxy leading receiver. He's just 4 points. He's the Galaxy's all-time leading scorer. That's a nice, once again, the misdirection. You see Newbill 94 was in the backfield. They're taking advantage of the fact that he is so aggressive inside. So they're going to run away from him and make people on the outside cover up for him.
3rd and 3. Oh, there's the man Newbill again, standing him up. Big loss brings on the punting team. Vernon Turner went nowhere.
Huge play. Once again, nobody has accounted for Newbill today. There he is, 94. Just going to come inside. Nothing big, nothing fancy. He loops down. They don't see it. They don't pick it up. Newbill is on a permanent stunt every play. Permanent blitz every play.
What he needs to do is take this tape, edit it down, and send it to all the NFL teams.
Go.
Those 6 or 7 plays that he's made today.
That's where editing is key.
Toderick Malone deep. Flags are everywhere.
Delay of game, offense.
Delay of game penalty.
5-yard penalty.
The Galaxy.
Team fourth down.
Well, that's going to be a good thing for the Monarchs because that's going to make the field longer. They're going to push him back and re-kick it.
Ernie Stautner and Lionel Taylor.
Give the credit to the defense, though. Tough circumstances. They find a way to get their minds back on the game and shut down the Galaxy and force the turnover.
Oh, block punt. London will pounce on it. It's their ball at the 10-yard line. Ronnie West with the block. Check that.
Claudius Wright.
Claudius Wright with the block.
Claudius Wright. Huge play.
Okay, let's go. Line up in it.
And so the Monarchs with another chance. Special teams.
Special teams coaches have no fear like that of the double side. Ronnie West right there on the outside. Excuse me, Claudius Wright on the outside. Nobody touched him. I mean, he could have lifted that right off the punter's foot. And now the mad scramble to pick it up. You got nothing to lose. Pick it up and try to score.
First and goal from the 10. Stan White.
Oh.
Great play fake.
Oh. Stan knows he should have threw that football as soon as he came out of the rollout. He had Mike Titley wide open. And he waited. He tried to wait for him to clear a little bit. And the pursuit caught up with Titley, so now he had to make a decision to try to run the ball. But that was a great call in this area of the field. The defense has got to be thinking inside like they were before when they made the big hit on the fumble. And they're going to over-pursue and overreact on things.
Second down from the 5.
Timeout.
Lionel Taylor wants to talk it over. And the way the stadium is configured here at Stanford Bridge, both sidelines are on the same, both teams are on the same sideline.
Okay, that's okay. That's right. We'll just tell them to take it out. Okay.
Ernie Stautner and the Frankfurt Galaxy trying to hold on, but their backs are definitely against the proverbial wall. Another turnover. The block punt has put them in this precarious position. Second down for Stan White of the London Monarchs. Stan looking for Stallworth. Boy, that was a dangerous pass.
Just because it feels so tight, it's regulation back there. It's 10-yard end zone, but it just feels tight. And because it feels tight,
I quit. Nod. Damn.
field goal. That's what we're talking about. Because it feels so tight back there with the wall and everything, receivers subconsciously cut their route short. And I think that's what happened there.
And back to pass. Looking for his tight end. And it's a touchdown to Michael Titley. Monarchs on top. The ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, but Titley was there. They call him Velcro, and he latched onto it. London on top, 12-7.
Excuse me, they tried to go to Titley the first play down here by the goal line. And that's the play that Stan held the ball a little bit too long.
They're going for two.
A great catch off of the ball. I got no for you.
LT liked the grab, didn't
he? That is a great catch. He's absolutely right. I got news for you.
And again, looking for Toderick Malone off the fingertips. So the Monarchs in front, 12-7. Stan White with his first touchdown pass of the season. Michael Titley is the man. The first touchdown grab of the season. He latched on to that pass from Stan White, which was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and the Monarchs on top.
He has no problems at all with the tube systems over here. Being from Brooklyn, New York, he doesn't mind riding the subway now and then.
He loves to sightsee, Michael Titley. Vernon Turner fields it at the 10. A big hole up the middle. And the saving tackle, Ed Berman, grabbed his ankle.
Here's Mike Titley right here. Now he's just going to come across in the middle, turn around, but he has to concentrate on this ball because it's tipped. And he makes a great catch on the play. You heard Lionel Taylor say, you know what, I got news for you. That was a great catch. And he's right.
The scoring drive, 3 plays, 5 yards. The block punt set it up. Chad May and Frankfurt on the attack. First time they've been behind. And Vernon Turner goes forward for maybe a gain of a yard. Ernie Stautner has had that look on his face for about 2 quarters now.
I'll tell you right now, Ernie is old school football. Like you said, he made $6,000 his first year in the league, and he thought he was rolling in big bucks.
A member of the National Football League Hall of Fame. Reggie Holt on the stop.
9-time Pro Bowler. 14 years in the league. A war veteran, World War II. Went to the war, then came back and played 14 years in the NFL.
And he walks like a guy who played during that era.
Yeah.
He walks like he's always sore.
Yeah.
Always hurting.
But you know, he's got something a lot of guys in any era will never have. The Super Bowl rings and a Hall of Fame visit.
Chad May goes down and then takes a plunk from behind. That never feels good when a 290-pounder like Jeff Hunter just makes sure you're down.
Yeah, he got tripped on the way back. Like one of his offensive linemen was trying to come back and protect him, hit him on the way back.
Roderick Malone deep to field the punt. Many of these receivers like Roderick trying to improve their chances in making the NFL by returning punts as well as receiving. Time winding down in the 3rd quarter. Here's the World League yesterday on the opening day of this season. Barcelona beats Rhine, much to the delight of the folks from Frankfurt. Quite a rivalry going on between the 2 German teams. And in the Amsterdam Arena, that beautiful facility, the Scottish Claymores knocked off the Admirals, who did not put on a beautiful performance, 16-3.
Those Claymores know that they are the champions. They feel it.
Hobbs, the fullback, pulls forward. Stan White, Dave Brown have been together for 3 years now with the New York Giants, and they've both learned quite a lot through some tough times in New York.
You know, I say misery loves company. So everybody, you know, when the Giants have been struggling the last couple of years, the media has been hard on us, but that's the way it should be. The Giants have a great tradition of winning football. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 11 or 12 years. So, you know, we expect that from ourselves. So, you know, I think you can become closer as a team, or you can become further apart. And I think as far as Dave and I's relationship, we've become closer because of the trying times. And hopefully one of these days we can look back and say, hey, we had some great times in there too.
Well, Stan almost had a miserable time there as he threw it into coverage.
He sure did.
And Andre Bowden was right there, but Ed Hobbs, the fullback, tore it away from him and saved his quarterback there.
Boy, that was a great almost interception. I think they'll make up a category for that one.
Yeah.
The ones you almost got. Sounds like a golf category.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Tony Vincent goes forward for the first down as the Monarchs.
Well, I tell you, they're running over that left side, and a guy that I like who's on that left side, Tony McKenzie, 64, the national, went to school in the States. And you're talking about a big guy who's got a little bit of skill, too, and knows how to use it. There he is, Tony.
15 minutes to play now as we head into the fourth quarter. Stan White, LT on top, 12-7. It's the start of the fourth quarter. Doug Bell along with Ron Pitts. We hope you're enjoying this one. First weekend of the World League. The Monarchs at home leading the Frankfurt Galaxy. And Stan White back to pass on first down. The pump fake looking for Stallworth. Ooh, good defensive play by Jack Kellogg. The folks here having a fun time, and it started well before the game today. Check out what was going on at Battersea Park about 15-20 minutes from the stadium here. It's the big power party put on by the league. Why weren't we invited?
It's like that a lot. You'll get to know that feeling.
Look at that.
He's got good technique.
I could have been catching some passes, getting really fired up for this game.
Although the bucking bronco scene there does look familiar. Felt like that on the trip over.
You being in the movies, though, maybe you had a part in that urban cowboy thing.
Oh, no. I don't know who told you that rumor. Our producer, Ray Smoke, don't listen to him.
Jimmy, come out.
Okay? Oh, not all his information on me is correct.
It's third down and 7.
Or good.
For Stan White and the London Monarchs. Quick three-step drop. First down to Coderick Malone. That's been quite a combo today. And you know, Stan White told us before the game, as we listened to LT, he told us before the game over at his girlfriend's dad's house in Birmingham. Big party this morning, watching the game. Fired up about his first start in quite a while.
Oh, yeah, and you know, making those kind of throws and those kind of catches right there, make you feel good about yourself. You know people are back home watching it. Even if the game did start at like, 8 a.m. in L.A.?
Yeah, it was early. 9 a.m. Central Time, Birmingham time for Stan White. And Tony Vincent spins off that tackle. Shows some nice speed getting out of bounds again.
I like that. And then giving it to the crowd.
Look at that guy with a helmet. And the goalpost on top of the helmet.
He's into it. Yeah, look at that.
Looks a little bit like Billy Joel.
I wonder if that's regulation-size goalpost. He's got the jump going, looking like Billy Joel, huh? Excellent move right there. Those are the kind of moves that you want to exhibit in the NFL. You know, you're going to have people in your face before the line of scrimmage. He spins out of it, accelerates, and makes the room from it.
And Vincent again goes forward for a couple of yards. He says this is his last go-round, Tony Vincent. He's going to get married. If you look at his numbers for today, 67 yards.
Wow.
He said he'd like to latch on with the team, but if he doesn't, he's going to latch on with his brother in the computer business.
Oh, he said, I am strictly the advisor.
Yeah.
Meaning I hold the checkbook and tell you what to do, and you go do all the grunt work.
He's the idea guy.
We know a lot of guys like that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Stallworth was the receiver. Stan White threw it out of bounds.
One thing I noticed about Stan White throwing the ball, if you look at Benson there, you notice he's still down the ground. Stan's a very smooth thrower. You know, he's not necessarily a rocket arm type of guy, but he's very smooth in his delivery. Can you hear the London Monarch coach next door yelling, hurry up, hurry up. Boy, he's going crazy.
Wow.
No, actually,
somebody's catching heck.
I'm sorry, that was the Frankfurt Galaxy coach next door. They had too many men on the field. They got people running on and off the field going crazy. They seem to have had a lot of problems today with substitutions, nationals on and off.
Timeout. Frankfurt.
Things like that.
That's the team's first team charge timeout.
Wow.
What was the number that called
30
timeout?
seconds.
take a break. Ernie Stautner. We're going to stay here. Ernie and his new coaching staff have had a little trouble communicating things to a lot of new players.
What the hell are they calling us?
I don't know. They got out there and came back. We got to get this mess straightened out.
Hey, get the line together and tell them they aren't getting down and ready to go.
Okay.
Get them together.
Quit flopping. We're going to start sliding. We're running around.
That's exactly what's happened.
We got to start sliding and stay flopping.
Shit.
I will. We'll get through the slide the line because the tire.
Ernie, they're talking to the offensive line coach, Humanek, trying to find out what's going on out there.
It's killing him because he's having to burn timeout. Ryan Greenfield, the punter for London. Like John Silvestri, the kicker, they're both graduates of Pittsburgh. Towering kick in the end zone.
That might, he crossed over.
He definitely crossed over.
Yeah, he crossed over. Sorry, Claudia.
With the touchback. Frankfurt will start from their 20. Ernie Stautner and company hoping to straighten things out and rally against the hometown Monarchs. Numbers from previous years. 116 World League players were on 96 rosters. 15 World League quarterbacks on 96 rosters. You know, Brad Johnson, talk about a guy who started in the World League, now with the Vikings making big bucks.
Yep.
They didn't even keep Warren Moon because of him.
Right, that's a great example, I think, for the league. You know, a lot of people have misconceptions about what this league actually is for. You know, and they think that because a player is allocated and can come over here and, you know, he's gets preferential treatment. Well, what did Ernie and Lionel tell us? They cut 4 or 5 allocated guys. They call the team up and say, hey, we don't care what you think of him. Yeah, this guy's attitude's bad, and he's not going to play on our team. And for some players, an attitude adjustment is exactly what they need. They need to come over here and come back down to earth.
Bad snap. Chad May
Got it out of there and almost completed it. Wow. Once again, another bad snap. And I saw a lot of bodies, Monarch bodies, around Joe Corolla, the center. Look at all the bodies here. There, once again, new build. He's working his way up there. See as he starts to roll right there? This is just a great athlete right here. Picking the ball up. He's got to pick the ball up, find the seam, twirl it, throw it. Pretty good.
taking a lick. Scott Player. The Todrick Malone calls the fair catch at about the 27-yard line. So that's where the Monarchs will take control. And they hope to take control of this game. Up by only 5. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to London, England. Doug Bell along with Ron Pitts. The Concorde just taking off from London, headed back to the Big Apple. That's a pretty sight, right above our stadium. Woo. And Stan White hands off to Tony Vincent. Stan's numbers, speaking of in the air, improving. Now 103 yards passing, 13 of 26. So after a shaky start, he's seemingly getting it in gear. Those are the numbers. That one touchdown pass to his tight end Sitley, and the interception was on the very first drive of the game. And there's a fumble by Vincent. A mad scramble for the football, and we'll see who comes up with it. This will be a killer turnover for the Monarchs. Stan White out of the pack with a football.
Nice play by defensive lineman Tom Tobo, one of the national players. Tom Tobo right in there. He strips that ball. Excuse me, that's Walker. Not Tom Tebow, Walker, 91. He makes the play.
That was close because it looked like Vincent's knee might be on the ground.
Yeah, but he got it back. He had to do some fighting down under that pile.
So that brings up third and very long. There's the pick. Frankfurt, Greg Evans.
Nice tackle. What a
Vincent
play.
comes up with the tackle, but Greg Evans on the pick. And the Galaxy back in business.
When you go up against a team that's been a champion and been to the championship game, they have one characteristic. They do not die easy. And the Galaxy, they are not dying easy. Anytime a ball is tipped, it usually means something bad for the offense. And that's a drill they practice. And that's good awareness by Evans.
Evans is a guy.
Stan knows once that ball's tipped.
Evans is a guy who's been around the block in the NFL. Allocated by the Redskins, played a couple of years with Buffalo. Actually had an interception against the Steelers back in the '95 playoffs, and there's the man from TCU. There's another penalty against Frankfurt.
Illegal snap, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Illegal snap. Wow.
Joe Carollo, again, he has 2 holding penalties, that penalty.
What happens is he's drawing the defense offside by kind of jerking the ball, moving the ball real quick before he snaps it.
And Bobby Phillips, and a flag on the play, usually a holding penalty. The back judge threw the flag, and that's what it is.
Holding, number 55, offense. 10-yard penalty, still remains first down.
That one against Ron Collins. The big left tackle, the only returning starter from a year ago.
There's big Ron Collins right there. Well, I saw a leg whip. I think he called, he might have said 55, Nate Miller, the left guard.
So it's 1st and 25, Chad May from the shotgun. Looking for Mario Bailey, or looking for Phillips. Incomplete. So bring up 2nd and long. The Frankfurt Galaxy, they've been to the World Bowl the last 2 years. They lost to the Scottish Claymores a year ago, won it in '95. Ernie Stautner, who was born in Germany.
One down on the first down.
You know, I keep thinking of the fact that the Galaxy have never lost an away game, the opening game. They've never lost that game away from home. And they're playing like they don't want to lose this one.
Chad May again over the middle. Again, Vernon Turner couldn't hang on.
Vernon Turner's got to catch the ball. Chad May, once again under the midst of all kind of pressure, puts the ball where it needs to be. Turner's going to come right across here. Right there in his hand.
There is some velocity on that pass from Chad May. He's got a rifle.
Those are not the kind of shots May plans on taking over here in Europe.
The ball bounced. Yep, it bounced. He would have been short of the first down anyway. John Morton was the receiver. And that'll bring on the punting team.
I want you to watch Chad May carefully. Watch the way he turns right before he throws and kind of backs away from the throw. That's what happens when you get pressure on the quarterback consistently, and that's exactly why he underthrew that ball. Now, the receivers could have helped him and should have helped him by coming back to the football a bit more. But the pressure does pay dividends.
Scott Player. And Kenny McIntyre called for the fair catch at the 18-yard line. 8:04 to play, fourth quarter. London on top of Frankfurt, and a flag on the play.
Wow, how many flags do we have today? It's the first game, and, you know, the referees are anxious to get out there and show that they've been studying their books all off-season long. And
Ineligible player on the kicking team, number 86, downfield. That penalty is declined. First down.
So the penalty was declined. And the Monarchs on the attack again. Here are the final standings from 1996. We talked about last year. The Scottish Claymores finished with the best regular season mark. Frankfurt at 6-4. They played in the World Bowl, and it was a sensational game. You see the rest of the numbers. London suffered last year with a 4-6 mark. William the Refrigerator Perry started the season with London a year ago. And LT said the Fridge was a great leader in the clubhouse. Tony Vincent on the carry. But the Fridge got banged up a bit and didn't complete the season.
well, you know, it's interesting. Monarchs, they started off and had a tough game in the opener. That man there, Lionel Taylor, was just the offensive coordinator. They ended up firing Bobby Hammond, and then they started to surge back up again. It was played well. Lionel Taylor told us yesterday that when the Fridge announced that he was leaving right before the end of the season, you could see the team's momentum start to drop. And the fire and the spirit start to drop out of that team.
Ed Hobbs, the fullback. As the time ticks away.
I think, if anything, Lionel Taylor has brought some consistency to the entire unit.
Where the ball is. Go with the lead. Go with the lead. Go with the lead.
Training camp was a bear. Lionel's the type of guy that will pull a guy to the side and get right in his face if he thinks he's messing up. And like we said earlier, I think the players respect him for it.
And there's Vincent with a first down and more up around the 42-yard line. Johnny Dixon wrestled him down.
Well, it looked like he made a nice play on Chris Hall. The safety came up for the stick. Look at Hall right there. He's the strong safety coming up. Now watch this move. Bam. That's sweet right there. Those are the kind of moves that you need. He knows he had one more guy to get. Put a little dance in there. I like that.
He got fired up. Put that fist up in the air like Tiger Woods. You got to credit Tiger now. Huh? He's the hottest guy on the planet.
His world. Everyone else is just walking around in it.
That's right. Tony Vincent goes forward. And we're closing in on 6 minutes. Tony closing in on what he hopes is 100 yards, but he'll need the ball a few more times. 22 carries, 76 yards. To Vincent again, who breaks the tackle and gets close to a first down. Wrestled about a yard short. Cecil Doggett on the tackle. Good blocking up front for the London Monarchs, thanks in part to local boy Tony McKenzie. Now here's a guy who spent 4 years at Hastings College in Lincoln, Nebraska. He knows what it's like to be in the USA and England, and he knows how to handle both situations. In fact, we'll hear from him. This guy is a character, to say the least.
I like what he can do with his voice. He said it's very, it helps you out a lot socially, let's just say.
Exactly, as Hobbs, the fullback, goes forward. And there's McKenzie. Let's listen to how he handles both situations with the ladies.
Well, when I find that I'm in America, I can talk with an American accent, but I tend to put the British accent on the best, as I believe that's what the ladies like over there. you see. But when you're in England, you have to tend to try and put the American accent on because that's what they like over here and they appreciate that. So, you know, I try and get the best of both worlds with the accents, you know, changing from British to American. You know, it's really not a problem.
Tony McKenzie, the national player, the starting left guard for the London Monarchs. As the Monarchs must punt it away. You know, there's a guy who's now 310 pounds. He said he played at Hastings College at 390.
And he attributes it all to kickboxing and a good diet.
Yeah, I think the diet had something to do with it. We'll take a break. Tony McKenzie, a man who's lost a lot of weight, would like to play in the NFL someday. We'll be back.
New York studios, looking ahead to World League weekend number 2 right here on FX. Saturday, a single game for you at 1 p.m. Amsterdam visiting Frankfurt. And then on Sunday, we have double header action for you beginning at 10 a.m. Barcelona at Scotland and London in Dusseldorf against the Rhine Fire. Now let's return to London for the final 4:51 of that game with Doug and Ron. Guys?
Hey, where's the beef? No, they don't say that in London with those two big hosses, McKenzie and Lamb. Too high. Chad May looking for Mario Bailey. Now, Mario's an interesting guy. He decided to play for British Columbia, the CFL, after the World League a year ago, after he didn't make the NFL, because it's close to his home in Seattle. He said it was like a 90-minute drive. Ended up leaving that team because he said the paychecks bounced. I mean, he said you had to cash it immediately or it wasn't gonna work.
He said, you know, guys in the NFL complain when the meal is a little cold or this and that. He said, you don't know what it's like when your check is 2 weeks late.
Bobby Phillips on the reception now. Yeah. Speaking of the CFL, though.
There's a little action going on up there between NFL and CFL.
Yeah, the commish, Paul Tagliabue, in Europe this weekend for the start of the World League, and the National Football League and the CFL have now joined company, if you will. The NFL has provided some cash to help the CFL promote their product because that league is definitely financially strapped. It's a 5-year commitment, $3 million American dollars up front. And what they hope to do is have the winner of the CFL. Uh-oh, that's a safety. That's a safety. Flag on the play.
Usually that's a hold when you get a play like that. And, of course, decline it if it is and take the 2. What are they going to...
Holding, 77 offense. That penalty is declined. Safety on the play.
And there's your man, Joe Carollo again.
Joe Carollo got another one. For Joe, but you know what? In Joe's defense, you got guys like that right there.
Oh, yeah.
Malcolm Scholl and Newbill. Once again, they're going to be coming up the middle. Scholl's over here. He's going to be coming. The center is going to get the call for the hold. But, hey, if I'm Joe Carollo, I'm going to hold too. There's the hold right there. I'm going to hold too. I'm not going to get my quarterback killed. But the pressure comes from somebody else. Right there, Scholl. He just completely beats Collins around the outside. Well, Malcolm Scholl was a huge pickup for these guys because he was a legit pass rusher for the Admirals last year and 2 years ago. And now he's the kind of guy that you just add to things like, and people like Newbill on one side, and then you got Ben Williams, a strong guy down inside to anchor the run. But that guy right there has really worked in tandem, and you can see it today along with Richard Newbill.
There's the big guy, 120 kilograms.
Doesn't sound very big.
No.
196 centimeters. He sounds kind of small. A little short.
Now there's a guy who's a few kilograms.
I wonder if he knows he's got that stuff hanging on his head there. Yeah, he knows.
And he's drinking some kilograms. Something in that can.
Orange juice and Metrec.
He's got the right arm working with the can and the left arm pumping there because his team's in the lead. And that gets that 2-point conversion that failed. London got it back on the safety.
Boy, a lot went on today in London. We had the London Marathon.
And that was really fun to watch on TV because there were close finishes in both the men and women's division. And then Chelsea, the team who plays their home soccer games right here on this field, they advanced to the finals of the FAA Cup out of Wimbledon. And that's big news. That's major headlines here in the paper. Roderick Malone. And Ray in the truck corrects me, it's just the FA Cup. He's a big soccer fan.
Right. In case some of our audience watching doesn't know about the safety.
So let's see.
You have that safety play. That means that you are now penalized for being taken all the way back and tackled in your own end zone. So now the penalty is you have to punt the ball from your own 20 and give it back to the team that you just gave 2 points to. And that's why it's kind of hard.
Stan White and the London Monarchs looking to start the season with a victory. Stan the man. They really love Stan Gelbaugh around here, the guy who led them to the first World League title back in 1991. And they say he was the most popular player in London Monarchs history, and they're hoping Stan White, with the same first name, they can play off that Stan the man and maybe sell a few more tickets and get it going again. And so far, Stan's looking good as Tony Vincent continues to pad his numbers.
You know, you look at Stan's situation, boy. A new head coach coming in there with the Giants, Jim Fossil taking over. Dave Brown.
He's right open both here.
He's a starting quarterback. Vincent's a starting quarterback. But boy, I tell you, after that, it's hard to say what can happen. And when you're not winning, nobody's secure. Let me say that. So while it may look like Stan White is getting nothing more than reps over here, he could be gaining a lot more in the long run.
Tony Vincent, right up the middle.
Boy, I love that. I love that that goalpost up there. Miles Davis. Buddy Rich.
He's got the beat there. The older fellow there. There's Vincent now, spreading out as a receiver. Look at the numbers, over 93 yards now for Vincent. Hobbs, the fullback, goes forward on third down, and he's short of the first down. So it looks like Frankfurt will get the ball back.
And they're trying to hurry it up to save some time here.
Run off.
The clock is running.
Huh?
Vernon Turner deep for the punt.
We got to learn to get up and over people.
Remember, Hobbs is the guy who fumbled on the goal line. And LT said, yeah, he needed to go up and over. Again, he was talking about Hobbs. I think they'll be working on that in practice. There's Turner. Boy, that was very dangerous. And he gets tackled up around the 22-yard line. He caught that ball just as the defender ran by. So Chad May with a chance to tie this thing up with 2:25 on the clock and perhaps send it to overtime. World League overtime a little different than the National Football League. It's not sudden death. Both teams get a possession. Timeouts remaining. Frankfurt on top.
You know,
they have 2 left.
That 2 points is really key for London, because if Frankfurt should go down and score, you would force them to have to get 2 to go ahead of you.
Right.
So it really, you know, it seems trivial, but that 2 was very big.
Chad May again being pressured, and Jeff Hunter. Miami Dolphins fans might remember Mr. Hunter back in '93. He had some big games with the Dolphins.
Jeff Hunter, he's going to be coming from the other side of the field. Chad May's looking that way, but when you get somebody in your face at the end of your drop, you've got no chance. We thought that the Galaxy defensive line would dominate the game. I think the Monarch defensive line and linebacker have dominated the game.
Again, Chad just throwing to save his life. Mario Bailey, the intended receiver. So he was guarded closely by Mario Bradley. Super Mario has not been super today, mainly because his quarterback hasn't had a lot of time. 2-minute warning now, 2 minutes to play. And we'll be back. Bad snap. Frankfurt Galaxy on 3rd down. And it's a fumble. London pounces on it. And I think that's Mr. Solomon from the Green Bay Packers who picked up the fumble.
Watch the snap. Watch the center snap very carefully. That's another ball off to the left and low.
All right, they did not call it a fumble.
They didn't call it a fumble.
So Frankfurt will kick it away with 1:56 on the clock. They could still get the ball back. No, there seems to be a bit of confusion now.
Well, no, Stan White is on the field with the offense.
And the officials are going to talk it over because half the guys think it's London's ball and half think it's Frankfurt's ball. The punter is out there. Stan White is out there. All right, so it is 4th down. So Stan White and the offense will come off the field.
Defense!
4th down.
Field. Let's get on the field. Get on the field. Punch in.
Okay, so
Everybody out the field. Hey, offense. Off the field, offense.
Watch the thing.
so that's just merely 4th down.
Right. So it's 4th down. And here comes Scott Player.
You gotta love Scott Player's face mask.
Yeah, oh man.
He's definitely going for that
He borrowed that,
wake.
yeah. He borrowed it from Billy Kilmer. And Sonny Jurgensen.
That's that Billy Kilmer look. Yeah, the Jan Spinnerud look. And they do that so that they have more area to see the ball. I mean, they're limited with the amount of contact that they have to go through, unless you get peeled back on. But
McIntyre fields the punt up around the 43, but gets knocked back.
good coverage by
About
Hall.
the 46. Chris Hall on the coverage. There's the World Bowl format. Now the team leading after week 5 will host the team leading after week 10. And if the team leading after week 5 is the best team and just continues to roll, it will be the 2nd best overall record that will play them for the World Bowl.
The whole trick there is to play well enough that you guarantee yourself a World Bowl appearance at home. That makes all the difference in the world. No pun intended.
And the Monarchs looking to start the season with a victory. Tony Vincent on the carry getting close to 100 yards. Something they haven't done, what, in 3 years?
Right. They have not won an opener at home here in 3 years. Now last year, they had a close one against Scotland. Very close.
How many yards we get? 3, 2? We got to get more. We ain't gonna throw it. We're not gonna throw it. No. Not that. We'll wait and see.
When Lionel said that, no, we're not going to throw it. No. No. We're not going to throw it. So he's going to run it, and if they don't make enough, he's going to punt them down into the coffin corner and then put the onus on the defense.
Well, as you mentioned, this was a big Saturday or big Sunday with the marathon and the big soccer game involving Chelsea, the FA Cup. So with this victory, the Monarchs really hope to build on this. There's not a bad crowd here today, but they really felt if they could win one, next week there won't be so much going on, that the crowd's going to keep intensifying, getting bigger. I mean, this is an important franchise for the World League. This is like New York City, L.A. Well, L.A., there's not a team there anymore in the NFL, but it's like New York City in the NFL. London is the big city in this World League.
Right. I mean, like you said, though, there's just so much going on. Like a big city back in the States.
Right.
If you're not winning, you don't exist.
142.
And the FA Cup at Wimbledon is huge. All the sports shows, that's all they've been talking about. As you look at the crowd here at Stamford Bridge, a facility that they are refurbishing. And Vincent, that throws him back a loss of probably 3 yards.
Take as much as you want. You got the boot if you want it. You got the boot if you want it.
Now see,
Be sure it's there.
Lionel talking into coach, the quarterback communication device, talking right to Stan White.
Don't take a chance.
He said, you have the bootleg play if you want it. In other words, the Galaxy, they're so aggressive on the outside rush. If you want to bootleg and run it yourself, you can do it. And there it goes. Don't take a chance. Stay inbound.
That's it. That's a boy. That's all right. Hey, Stan, good job. Good job.
And the coaching box right next to us, the Frankfurt coaching staff is going crazy.
They're mad.
Ain't no question.
They're trying to scream down to the team, call timeout. Yeah,
that's their last time, yeah.
Meanwhile,
that's right. Hey, that's what you do. Don't give them that. That's a good job.
Meanwhile, Lionel is giving Stan White all the attaboys he can handle for one day.
2-4. Yeah, you're going 2-4 in. That's giving that safety a chance to read and then cover. So if he looks through you.
LT is an animated guy. You look at the timeouts left. London still has one. That burned Frankfurt timeout. So Chad May will have a long way to go with no timeouts on the clock. Less than a minute.
Just a good look. But just come on out on
really
it.
Really quite a feat.
That's
when
right. That's right.
When you think about it being right now the leading receptor for the Denver Broncos. You think about some of the receivers like Hayden Moses, and then
let's hold that, baby. Don't get no punt. Let's go.
Or Shannon Sharp, and then the three amigos came through there with Vance Johnson and Jackson.
And fielded at the 15. Looking for some running room is Phillips. And he goes nowhere. So 43-6 to play. London on top by a touchdown in this opening weekend of the World League. And Chad May, the allocated player from the Arizona Cardinals, trying to pull off a miracle.
Well, they say he's got a strong arm and can throw the deep ball and likes to throw the deep ball. I can't think of a better time to let one fly.
Hey, but credit to London secondary. You're an old defensive back. Pretty good one in his own right. But these guys for London have really played well today because they've held Mario Bailey in check.
They are. Absolutely. Mario Bradley, the cornerback for the Monarchs, you don't know too much about him. He came into this game really as an unknown, and he's made some great plays.
Kenny McIntyre, the man who returned that pass earlier for a touchdown, got his hand in there, batted it down. There's a good look at the start of the game for London. He's come up with some big plays today. A couple interceptions. Second down for Chad May. Boom. Whoa, what a stick.
He held on to a great catch. That's a nice hit.
George Harris.
But a great catch by Jason Shelley.
George Harris, the man from Kentucky. We've spoken a lot about Southeastern Conference teams. They have more players in this league than any other conference, college conference, the SEC. Woo! That was out of bounds.
Wow, that was close. I don't know if Mario Bradley, who we just spoke of, played the ball all the way. He looked like he had his back turned.
We're going to want no foot race. Back up.
See, there's no way Mario Bradley should have been in a foot race like Lionel Taylor's saying. In this situation, he needs to get back.
Getting out of bounds. Maybe one more play. Yep, 6 seconds on the clock.
They better not get careless.
Bailey jumped out of bounds, so one more play.
I don't know why the Monarchs aren't in a prevent defense. Now they're going to it right now.
If there was ever a time, now's the time.
Or at least 4 across. They've been in 3 deep the last 2 plays, and they're still not in a full prevent. You see all the white shirts at the top of your screen? They're just going to throw it up.
Chad May throws it up for grabs. And there it is. That's the end of the game. So the London Monarchs
the Frankfurt Galaxy in Week 1 of the World League. Congrats to London and Stan the Man White and Lionel Taylor. For all of us here, we hope you enjoyed it, everybody. So long from London, England.
Over the Frankfurt Galaxy. Looking ahead to World League Weekend number 2 starting on Saturday. We got some great action for you. 1 p.m. Amsterdam visiting the Frankfurt Galaxy. Sunday doubleheader, Barcelona at Scotland beginning at 10, then followed up by London and Rhine. And we'll have all the NFL draft news for you. It's draft day next Sunday. We'll give you all the updates as the day progresses. For all of us here at FX, thank you very much for spending part of your Sunday in World League Weekend number 1 with us. I'm Eric Clemens. So long, everybody.
You'd be